Hi, and welcome to the first episode in the Windsor Academy Ragnarok Online Prime. I'm Nina. I know it's been a while. I used to play on Euro back when it was hosted by... what was their name again? Shit, I cannot remember. Anyway. And so we got the great news that Ragnarok Online Prime is opening. And it's a renewal format, but it's a little bit different because it's a lot more updated. And now the server will launch without third classes, but within 6 months, give or take, we're going to have third jobs and we're going to have all of their rebalancing, which we can see here. I have it up, right? So let's just dive right into it. This is gonna be an introduction to Prime. It's gonna be some do's and don'ts, getting ready for Prime, the things that are... sorry. the things that have changed, the things we didn't have back on Euro. So let's just look at the first one here, right, which is the Lord Knight. Now, looking through the skill tree here, right, you see there's all of these, what they do and so on. However, right, what we're looking for, if you scroll down, here we go. The changes, right? We're gonna do this for every class, and then we're gonna go in-game. I'm sitting on a character at the moment, and I will show the UI changes, and I will show you how to use the features, and yeah, you know, so let's just get right to it. There was a massive skill rebalance for first classes, second classes, and transcendent classes, and this will be included in the launch of Prime, because it's obviously on Kairos and it's a long time ago, so... Looking at the swordsman, right? So you have Magnum Break, meaning you'll be able to spam it a bit more, right? So delay after cast is reduced from 2 seconds down to 0.5, but the skill has 2-second cooldown. This basically means that you can use Magnum Break and then instantly use something else instead of being locked out of your skills from using a, like, you know, the delay after casting. Bowling Bash. Now this is a very notable change, and it really depends on what you're using. But look at this, when using a 200 weapon, the damage is inflicted up to 4 times depending on the number of targets in the area of 5x5. Now the old Bowling Bash, for those of you who remember, you had the gutter lines, and it could get really frustrating when you're trying to AoE. So what they've done is basically buffed this skill, and there's a cooldown now of 1 second, but the delay after cast has been reduced, and I guess you can see the trend here, right? They're basically trying to make gameplay a lot more enjoyable earlier on, because they also, later down the line, they reduced the EXP required up to level 150, because they want people to be able to reach that point faster. Without further ado, let's just move on. Yeah, you see added a skill 1 called Brandish Spear. Now this is where it gets interesting. Now, Brandish Spear is actually incredibly powerful now. For those of you who remember, it was kind of a gimp thing before. Brandish Spear was kind of a meme skill, more or less. I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't nearly as good as Bowling Bash. But now, the problem here though is that it's a ranged damage skill, which means that cards like Earth Deleter, for example, that gives you SP back on melee kill is not going to work anymore. Formulas for basically every single skill has been reworked, more or less, to make them stronger overall. But yeah, if you haven't read these, we're just gonna go through them, right? The cast time for using Brandish Spear is reduced, meaning you can use it a lot faster because of the delay is reduced. However, SP consumption is increased, which is... SP problem is something we all have on low level, right? But yeah, Brandish Spear and Bowling Bash are your two go-to skills here. Personally, I'm gonna go Bowling Bash. I don't really like Brandish Spear, and I really enjoy the way the Bowling Bash works. And plus this, I don't like this, because you will run out of SP very quickly. 200 Quicken also gives hit and crit now, see? Which is pretty cool, right? Charge attack, fixed and variable cast times removed, but there's a 0.5 second cooldown. Hello? Right, anyway, moving on. So this is basically the changes for the Lord Knight, Knight and Swordsman tree skills, right? Moving right along, we're gonna go back and we are going to go into the Paladin tree. And then we have to scroll to the very bottom. Now obviously Swordsman, Magnum Break is the same here because it's the same tree, so... right, Grand Cross. Grand Cross is a lot stronger now as well. Cooldown is reduced. Was reduced from 1.5 to 0.5, but the skill cooldown was increased to, I don't know, this is very... You'd no longer take damage yourself though, which is pretty good. But yeah, the cast time is reduced. This one, however, Shield Boomerang, is really, really strong. Sadly, it's a single target ability, but it's still pretty good, right? Spear Quicken. It also increases attack speed by 10% on top of what it did before. So, I mean, as I said, these are not really... The changes for Crusader is mainly the Grand Cross and the Shield Boomerang, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot more changes, but right now we're just going through the ones that are actually included in Prime, because there's no point in me telling you about all the amazing things that are on K-Row if we don't have them on Prime. So, this is the Paladin changes, right? Scholar, this is Sage. Now this is a very notable change. When you're using Endo, it now uses up the gems. Sorry, it doesn't use up when you're trying to create converters and all that, but we'll get to that, right? So mage skills overall has been really, really buffed, okay? Because mages were just, they were awful, they were absolutely terrible, right? Looking at it here, the fixed cast time for the skill level 10 was increased, right? See, to 1.2. However, the variable cast time was reduced, which is pretty good, and the skill cooldown was significantly reduced, meaning you can use it again and again and again. Thunderstorm, fixed cast time was reduced, variable cast time was reduced, so meaning your AoEs is a little bit better. You have Fireball. Let's see, fixed and variable cast time for the skill at level 1 to 5 was changed. Now it's the same cast time for the skill 6 to 10. 0.2 second fixed and 0.8 second variable. Skill cooldown reduced to 0.7 no matter what level. So, you know, there's no way around it really, but... let's see, moving on. Soul Strike. Skill cooldown is the same for all levels, 1.4 seconds. It was reduced at level 10 from 2.5 to 1.4. That's pretty good. Almost cutting it in half. Frost Diver, skill cooldown reduced from 1.5 to 0.5. This will help you tremendously when you're leveling. In case you get overwhelmed or you just really need to get that clutch Frost Diver off, you know? So that's the Mage. Obviously this applies to Wizard as well. Moving on to the actual Sage skills. This gets quite interesting here, right? Now in order to activate a skill, a blue gem is needed instead of a yellow one, which, since you can purchase a blue gems, making it way easier, right? The skill Volcano not only increases attack, but also magic attack. These ones are also very... Fixed cast time was reduced, variable cast time was added, meaning you can get it down to instant if you want. And see, now you need a blue, yellow, green, or red gemstone. Green gemstone? Okay. To activate the skills respectively. Magic attack of the corresponding element is increased, and it always has a 100% activation chance. It's just the duration that has been increased massively, right? Hindsight, a lot of you will love this. I know I do. Hindsight is basically when you attack with the Sage, when you auto-attack, you have a chance to trigger spells, as such here. And basically, this is what happened here. Look, at level 10, Thunderstorm and Heaven Destroyer, meaning you could AoE with this. This is pretty cool. You have Earth Spike. Cast time for the skill at level 5 was increased. We don't like that. But the variable was also increased. The skill... Ah, here we go. Okay. The skill cooldown was reduced. And damage per hit was doubled. That's pretty big, actually. You want to use some earth spells against like Harpies, maybe? Heaven's Drive. Again. Yeah, they cut the cooldown in half, making it... Like, they're basically trying to introduce more flow, I guess, in the gameplay, so you won't have... Like, you hit a spell and then you just stand there like a muppet because you can't do anything, right? So, this is the sage changes, right? Alright, let's go back. Wow, we have a lot to get through here, but... We'll try to make it in good time. We also have a lot of stuff to do in-game as well. Okay, here we go. Same mage changes again, I guess I don't have to say them again, but... wizard skills. Lord of a Million? They reduce... Okay, the fixed cast time is down to 1.5 from 1.60. That's such a weird number. And the variable was reduced from 678 to 4.5. Skill cooldown. Oh wow, okay. This is huge. From 5 seconds down to 1. But the recharge time was added to skill 5 seconds. Okay. The skill mechanics has changed. Now instead of 4 attacks with 10 charges, now 1 attack with 20. Okay. And the damage was slightly increased. So this is... I feel like this is buffed. In a way. I would say that this is a buff, in my opinion anyway. Less cast time, more damage. Meteor Storm seems to be the same, basically. Yeah, look at the variable cast time from 9.6 down to 6.3, fixed cast time 2.4 down to 1.5. But again, they reduced the cooldown, but they added a recharge time. Not really sure what that means per se, but essentially the same, I guess. Could be with after cast delay, I suppose. Storm Gust, same deal here, really. Yeah, all of these AoEs seem to have the same deal going on. Fixed cast time reduction, just overall cast time reduction, cooldown. Oh wow, Storm Gust, cooldown reduced from 5 seconds to 1! Wow! But, recharge timer to 6 seconds, meaning, what you could do is, if you have all of them, you could be casting them consecutively, so you do Storm Gust, Lord of a Million, Meteor Storm, and then you can just keep rotating these over and over again, which would be pretty cool. Because of each skill has a separate recharge timer, but while you're casting the other ones, the recharge time of the first ones should come off. So that's pretty cool. Jupiter Thunder, I really love this skill. It just keeps things the fuck away from you, pardon my language. Fixed cast time reduced to 0.5 down from 1.12, that's cool. Variable reduced from 4.4, these are such random numbers, down to 3.8. Fixed cast time, let's see, Earth Spike, we've already heard that, and Heaven's Drive, okay. Going back again. Master Smith. Oh yes, I remember this one. Okay, so, it might not look like a lot, but this is actually quite big, okay? Now, fixed cast time reduction, it doesn't really matter too much for Crazy Uproar, however, the skill now grants 4 strength, 30 attack to characters and nearby party members. Okay, so you basically have an AoE buff now as a merchant. This is really nice. They're really adding the sort of element for party play where everyone can, you know, do something to help the party out. You know, it's really cool. On top of all the other blacksmith skills as well. But even as a merchant, you can... 30 attack is pretty big. Especially when you're just a merchant as well. Blacksmith, Adrenaline Rush, again increases attack speed. And it also gives you plus 20 hit, which is really valuable at low level, to be honest. Power Thrust. Weapons cannot be destroyed while using the skill. Okay, so before people get confused here, it does not mean that your weapon is indestructible from being destroyed. It means that the skill itself will not cause the weapon to break anymore like it did before. You had like a 0.1% chance or something like that to have your weapon destroyed when you had Power Thrust on. And it also boosts the damage that everyone else gets from this skill now as well. So that's pretty cool. Some really nice buffs going on here for the Blacksmith as well. Moving on. Biochemist. Right. Bomb. Bomb and acid terror. Those of you that don't know, these are prerequisites. This is sort of like, it's not like acid demonstration, but it's sort of like the alchemist versions. Bomb places a little thing on the floor. So weapon destruction chance was increased. The type of damage changed from melee special to melee normal. That's pretty cool. Okay, they just said the formula for calculating damage changed. They didn't say if it was buffed or nerfed, but it's changed, so we're gonna have to see what we can dig out about that. The skill deals additional damage according to the level of skill potion research. Okay, that's pretty cool. Since everybody's gonna be getting potion research anyway, more or less. Acid terror. The type of damage changed from melee to normal. From melee special to melee normal. Formula for calculating damage changed. Okay, yeah, the same thing here. Potion research buffs both of these now. So that is pretty cool. Not that much otherwise, but it's not bad. Yeah, it's 3 buffs, right? I mean, this is all to help you level up to Transcendent, up to to 3rd job and all that. High Priest. If I remember correctly, there's a huge amount of changes. Yeah, okay. We're just gonna, take them one at a time and see what we can do. Blessing gives hit. I think it's 1 per level, I'm pretty sure. Agility increases attack speed, I'm pretty sure it's 1% per level as well. So if you have both max, that's 10 hit and 10% attack speed on top of their original buffs as well. Angelus increases max HP of the target. Is it 10 per level, 15 per level? I don't know, they might have changed it a little bit, but it's really nice for everyone. Holy Light. Okay. Fixed and variable cat times. Okay. Well, I mean, meow, I guess. Okay, but yeah, so Holy Light is cast a lot faster. This is a huge change, okay? This is big. Especially for all of you priests out there that you're not really sure how you will play if your party members are offline or, Magnus Exorcismus now hits everything. All targets. It doesn't matter, okay? However, they deal additional damage to demons, undead, and stuff. I mean, it's a holy skill, so it makes sense, right? But you can basically use it against anything now, and that is fantastic because it means you're not restricted to leveling on undeads and all of these things anymore. Now you still can to get that extra damage out, but it's still. I feel like this is a really nice change. Okay, cooldown was reduced to 1 second. Cast time. This is huge, look at this. Fixed cast time down to 1 second from 3, and variable from 12 down to 4. This is huge. Now, there is a cooldown of 6 seconds, but it means you can get it off quickly and then cast something else, which is just super, right? Mace Mastery for those of you who want to whack things, or if you're like me, I love Battle Priest. It's like one of my favorite things ever in this game. Suffragrim. I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but, just bear with it. Okay, the skill mechanics were changed. Now it decreases the variable cast for skills cast by the character, by yourself, and nearby party members for the whole duration of the skill. The amount skills cast do not matter. Okay, right, so it's for a certain duration instead of how many skills you cast. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you cannot cast this unless you have another player nearby. That might be a bug that they fixed, I'm not sure. But otherwise, you'll be able to use it as a self-buff, which is pretty cool to reduce your cast time. Let's see here. Yeah, they added a cast time to this as well, so it's no longer instant. And the cooldown is reduced from 2 seconds down to 1, but it's a 30-second reload. So again, they're trying to give you a plethora of different skills to use instead of just mashing one skill repeatedly. They're trying to get you to weave in all kinds of different spells in your rotation and in your leveling. But yeah, that's Imposito Manus. This was changed as well. It increases attack and magic attack for you and for everybody else at the same time. Fixed cast time and a variable cast time and a cooldown from 3 seconds down to 1 and a skill reload of 30 seconds. This isn't really an issue unless people are dying over and over and over and over again and you need to recast it, but that's such a silly situation that doesn't really come up. So overall, massive buffs across the board for the High Priest as well as the Acolyte. So let's see here, moving on to the Champion. Now obviously the same Acolyte buffs are true here, just like on the High Priest, so we can just skip this part. Now for Monks, Knuckle and Fist now do 100% against small and medium and 75% against large. I remember this was a problem because Knuckles, they dealt so much less damage to small and medium, if I'm not mistaken, right? So this will help you level, because the thing is you don't really fight a lot of large monsters when you level. Usually it's mostly medium and sometimes small, so that was a big of an issue, but they fixed that. This is big as well, 30% trigger chance on every skill level, okay? And they changed the way that combos work effectively. The skill can only be used immediately after Raging Triple Blow, right? Or during level 4 root status, followed up with Raging Thrust. When used with it hits the enemy 6 times with double damage. If you use a knuckle weapon. They're trying to get monks to not use maces, they want you to use a knuckle like you're supposed to. They reduce the SP cost as well, so you know you'll be able to really hammer it a little bit. The notorious Asura Strike, or G-Fist as it's called, when used in combo, the skill can be used when 1 Spirit Sphere or more remains. That is really nice. Increased by 100% when 6 Spirit Spheres or more remains. We'll get to that. If that sounds weird, you'll be able to have a lot more Spirit Spheres later as Asura. SP recovery penalty reduced from 3 seconds... to 3 seconds down from 10. So like when you used Asura Strike before, you couldn't really use an Igberry or SP items for like 10 seconds and you're just standing there like a paper towel, you couldn't really do anything. So, they've addressed this a little bit. Root lasts for 10 seconds instead, and the effect is reduced to 2 seconds when used on boss monsters. Okay. Occult Impactation. This is the one when the target has more defense, you do more damage, and they've increased the damage a little bit again. I think it's called Investigate or something like that as well, the Iron name. When I used on a target that the user caught with root, the skill deals... Okay, so if you root something and then use the skill, you deal 50% more damage. It's pretty cool. Throw Spirit Sphere, consumes 1 no matter what skill level. This is actually really good because it means that instead of throwing all of them, it will still do a ton of damage, but you'll be able to click it, more than just once and then have to get more Spirit Spheres, meaning that this will be a viable build for leveling as well as maybe MVPing or PvPing, which is pretty cool. Spirit Sphere Absorption, removed cast time, and reduced fixed cast time. Sweet. So yeah, massive leveling and potential PvP and MVP buffs as well across the board for the monk. Sorry, for the champion. Okay, minstrel. These guys have had quite the rework, and unless you're aware of this, yeah, look at this. I mean, this is huge. Okay, we're gonna one thing at a time here. Okay, Melody Strike and Slinging Arrow. Delay after skill increased by 0.3 seconds, however, variable casting time reduced to 0.5, down from 1.5. And increases, like, they literally buffed the living shit out of this, okay? It hits twice, and it does a metric ton of damage squared, okay? Like, that much, like, you just blow things up, right? Music lessons. Delay attack after attack reduced by 1%, increase by... Okay, so this basically gives you... this is really difficult to understand sometimes. This is not the same as increased attack speed, but basically it's 1% faster animation between swings, if I'm not too rusty about this. And it increases your max SP by 1%. But it no longer gives bonus to song skills, which might be a bit of a put-off, but it's okay. It's actually not that bad. Moving on, you have dance lessons. Obviously, this is for bard and dancers. We're kind of just swapping back and forth here. Increases crit by 1. It's basically essentially the same, except that this is for the dancer, obviously. Unbearing Octave.
Okay, this is Frost Joker, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a cooldown of 4 seconds now. And the delay after cast is reduced to 0.3 seconds, down from 4 seconds. Meaning that you can click it and then you can use something else. You see the theme they're going for here? Instead of being able to like spam, because this has 4 seconds cooldown now, instead of causing a delay after skill where you use this and then you would just stand there again, you couldn't do anything. So they're kind of changing it up a little bit, which is just fantastic. It makes the gameplay so much more enjoyable. Amp, SP consumption of skills reduced by 20% across the board. Delay after skill increased by 0.3 seconds. Cooldown increased by 300 seconds. Now, obviously, 5 minutes cooldown is a bit huge, but I mean, it is a cooldown, you know, it's not really supposed to be spammed, obviously, because it's quite strong. Encore, same thing again. Cooldown increased by 60 seconds. Those of you not familiar with it, it replaced the last song that you played. I'm not sure if it's free of charge or for half the cost or something like that. I should probably look that up, but for our intents and purposes it doesn't matter right now. Unchained Serenade. Now, as you can see, neutral problematic damage to enemies within 9x9 around the user. And this is magic attack, okay? Increases damage based on user's job level, can be used in PvP environments only. A little bit sad, but and now the one that everybody's been waiting for, strings. So variable cast damage reduced by 2 times skill level, meaning that's 20%, and delay after skill is reduced by 3 times, meaning that's 30%. So there's just one thing that I'm trying to remember here. Hang on. Just bear with me for a moment. Yeah, exactly. The way that this works, at least on Cairo, is that this is map wide now and it gives you a buff for a while. It doesn't actually, you don't have to stand in this little area anymore, so that's pretty cool. Impressive Riff increases attack speed of users and nearby party members with, yeah, exactly, 31x31 cells. So the way that bards, dancers, gypsies, whatever you want to call them, work now with their songs is that they will click them and then everybody on your screen basically will get this buff for a certain amount of time. Meaning you don't have to stand there and just sing like, you know, with the... Sadly, they also removed the animations from many of the skills, and that is a little bit sad. But sorry. Having said that, it makes it for a bit more enjoyable gameplay for people playing the bards and the dancers, because they don't have to just stand there. As you can see, there's quite a few buffs on every single one, and they're all 31x31. Right. Song of Luti. Max HP and incoming recovery rate for everybody. Increases max HP 9 plus skill level % on level 1 through 9, and increases max HP by 20% on level 10. And increases recovery by 2 times skill level, so it's 20%. Perfect tablature. I'm not sure what the actual name of this is otherwise, but looking at it here, again, you can enable so many like different buffs here. I mean, I feel like they're really coming along nicely with all of these changes. Perfect dodge +5, that's actually quite big, and flee +40. Wow, that is really nice. Look, you have to remember, this is you benefit as well now. So bards, dancers, gypsies, minstrels rejoice. You benefit from your own songs. Okay, this is beautiful. Hip Shaker has a chance to drain SP of enemies within 9x9 around the user. SP draining 10 plus 2x skill level. Right, okay. So that would be 30 SP. Success chance 20, so up 70% at level 10 for 30 SP. Only for PvP, but yeah. Slow Grace, I think this one's the one that's called Don't Forget Me. Yeah, reduce attack speed and movement speed of enemies within 9x9 around the user. Again, this is for PvP, but for people who PvE or do other types of PvP activities, you will enjoy this, I'm sure. These are just fantastic changes. Okay, let's see here. So Gypsy's Kiss increases max SP and reduces SP consumption of the user and nearby party members. Again, that's just amazing. Lady Luck increases crit and critical damage of the user and nearby party members. I guess most of you are familiar with these. I'm just going through them very quickly in case somebody's not. Mental Sensing. Now this is the one with the money bags, right? Increases XP from killing monsters for the user, again, and nearby party members within 31x31. XP gain is 10 plus 10 times skill level, meaning you can get 110% extra XP. And this is something, you know, I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's map wide. It's just so good. Harmonic Lick. They sure they translated that properly? Grants a random buff to the user and nearby party members around the user for one of the following. Okay. Delay after attack. Wow. Okay. This is pretty cool, actually. Okay. So you can get a random buff, and they're all really, really good. I mean, look at them. This is huge. Right? Acoustic Rhythm grants damage reduction against earth, water, fire, wind. Increase resistance to blind, frozen, petrified, stun, curse, sleep, silence for everybody. Okay, again, this is, you know, reduced damage taken across the board from elemental attacks, and make sure you and your party don't get, what's the best way of saying this? Wrecked by status effects, right? Because remember, we're not 175, we don't have 100 in every stat anymore, so you're gonna be capped at level 99, and you're gonna have 2 stats at 99 tops, or 3 at like 70, you know, whichever you prefer. Meaning there's gonna be a lot of status effects that you're not immune to, if any. Down tempo and power chord. Power chord is actually pretty nice, yeah. To cast spells without consuming gemstones, that's pretty neat. All enemies' defense within 9 are reduced to 0, and that's only for PvP though. Otherwise that would have been really good for leveling as well. Inflicts confusion and curses all players except user. Okay, PvP of course. Puts all enemies to sleep. Okay. Battle theme. Increase attack and defense of the user and nearby party members. Attack 15 plus 5 times skill level. So that's 65. And defense is 150. Not bad. Okay. I really wish they would change the font, like the color font here, it looks terrible. Since we've gone through both of these, we're just gonna move on to Sniper. Now, I love the Pantera. Okay, so, traps are buffed across the board. Trap build is not a meme build anymore, this is actually pretty nice, and it's actually a lot of fun, and it's really, really strong. Landmine, Claymore, and Blast Mine, okay? All getting the same treatment. Fixed cast time reduced. Reduced from to, okay, the translations are terrible, but basically, fixed cast time is down to 0.3, down from 1 second, and variable cast time is increased by 0.5. And the reason why this is actually good is that you can reduce variable cast time with your dex and your int. You cannot do that with fixed cast time, so this is a positive thing. Blitz speed, yeah, to increase damage based on agility and dex instead of int, which it was before. And this is big as well. So, as you may remember, if you were to auto attack and your blitz speed would just, you know, the falcon just flies away and does its thing on more than one target, and instead of doing 900 damage, it would do 450 on each of the targets, and this would just keep going down the more targets there were. Now it would do 900 on both, if that is the damage you were dealing before. So this is huge as well, it's great, it's really good for leveling as well. Assassin Cross. Right, okay, so Sonic Blow, this is big, okay? When you use Sonic Blow, you're no longer stuck, and you know, like, they do this animation thing, right? Where the character were, like, using the skill, and then you see the animation, and then you're stuck for, like, a second. That doesn't happen anymore.
So you can basically click it and then instantly do something else or just keep moving. You're no longer stuck in this animation. The damage is a lot higher and 50% more damage to targets below 50%. Meaning that you kind of want to use this, you want to damage the mob a little bit and then you want to use this. Now this is a big one as well. Poison skills for the assassin are also no longer a meme. And this is back on regular assassin, not just assassin cross, but regular assassin. No longer consumes red gemstone and the damage increase is huge, okay? And the cooldown, okay, 10 seconds down from 12. It's still quite a bit of a reduction, but you know, it's mainly these two things here, right? Meaning leveling with Venom Splasher as an assassin is actually really, really good. You're no longer forced to just auto-attack or use Grimtooth, and they're trying to give people a way to level using more abilities than just, you know, one per class, basically. And, okay, Stalker, and then Super Novice, right? So, Stalker, here we go. Sightless Mind, or Raid as it's also called. SP consumption reduced. Increases damage, like they buffed it quite a lot. However, this, when Raid Sightless Mind hits will take more damage from all sources for 10 seconds, 30%, 15% on boss monsters. This is huge, okay? This means that if you're playing in a party, you use Sightless Mind on a bunch of mobs, and then your wizard friend casts a Storm Gust, they all take 30% more, which is just great. For solo leveling, this is fantastic as well. You will hit twice when using a dagger, meaning if you have enough damage, you can one-shot with backstab basically, to feel like a real, you know, rogue sort of thing, which is cool. Automatically moves the player to the target's back to attack. This is fun. It makes me consider playing one, honestly, it really does. There's a cooldown 0.5 seconds, but it doesn't really matter too much. You're not gonna be, you know, spamming it more than that anyway. Intimidate passively increases your attack speed, which is pretty nice. I mean, honestly, I feel like this is the biggest change though. This is pretty huge too, but this for leveling solo is just fantastic. Alright, last one. Super Novice. Now, since you know all the other changes, right? They basically get all of it. So, for some reason they didn't include that. I'm not really sure why. But, anyways, moving right along. Now, this is where we get to the interface update, but I'm actually going to show you these things in-game. We're going to go through them here and I'm just going to show you them in-game. Now, I'm sitting on a server that is not Prime, and you will see me with a GM sprite. I am not a GM, just full disclaimer. I am basically just, this is just to showcase things and nothing else, right? So, they updated it with a lot of these new icons here, right? So, and there's a login, daily attendance, achievements. We're gonna do them in-game instead, because this just looks... We can actually go through this instead of doing it in-game. Pets can now evolve, okay? Meaning that, for example, a Orc Warrior can turn into a High Orc, giving it a lot higher buff, for example, right? On K-Row, you can even take this one step further to evolve it into Orc Hero, for even more damage buff. But this requires an Orc Hero card, so, you know, you might want to keep your expectations reasonable when it comes to that. But yeah, that's a pretty cool system, actually. You need to keep it happy and full. Dying reduces your intimacy, we all know this. When it reaches the loyal, it will start granting you buffs. Right, okay, you can find, if they're going after K-Row and I-Row, you can find this on the I-Row wiki. They have the official pet evolution table and what the different things do. So, without further ado, we're gonna go in-game now. We're gonna remove this and I'm just gonna tab in, okay? So... There, so we're in-game. Now, sorry about that. Here we have the UI. So we're just gonna go through them one by one. While we're doing this, I would like to say, those of you who are concerned with leveling, where to go, what to do, and so on and so on, we'll get to that towards the end of the video. And I will also post a description below with a little bit of... It's not a route, but it's more like a... What's the word I'm looking for here? Suggestions where you could go by using the navigation system. So, status, this is pretty much the same, it hasn't really changed. Equipment, however, has. Okay, we don't have title yet on Prime, but we do have the costume. This is where Shadow Gear goes. Some of you from Euro might be familiar with Shadow Gear. It's basically a secondary gear that you equip that is invisible. It's also, it replaces costumes, it's called Shadow Gear. So you either have costumes or Shadow Gear, but usually you can have Shadow Gear in the slots that you don't have costumes. So for example, you can have a costume hat and middle headgear and lower headgear, but then you would have a shadow armor, shadow weapon, shadow shield, and so forth, right? And then you have equipment swap, which basically lets you swap an entire gear set with one click. On Cairo they added a way to keybind this, which is really useful. So for example, I could have an entire MVP gear set, right? And then, you know, I'm leveling, blah blah blah, and then I run into an MVP, I click the swap button, voila, I have my... You have to have it in your inventory though, but then I would have it equipped with just one click, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that sums up the equipment window, I think. Yeah. Inventory, there's a favorite tab where you can place items that, you know, like cards or gear swaps and so on. Very useful. On Cairo, stuff that is in the favorite tab does not show up at the vendor, but for some reason it does here on Prime, so I wouldn't, you know, take it too much to heart in that sense, but it's a pretty good tab to have. Skill tree. Obviously, there's, you know, the normal skills with all their updated descriptions. Now, as I said, since this is not on Prime, I'm not sure if they fixed the descriptions. Many skills had broken descriptions on the closed beta, but hopefully they've addressed these. But otherwise, you can find the changes where we just were on their website. Party, there's one big change here that a lot of people don't really realize. You can drag this out for buffing and healing, right? See? Now, if you have more people in your party, you can basically, you can heal or buff here. So you can even send a mail. But yeah, so basically, let's say I'm a priest, right? And I want to heal this person or that person, instead of having to do it in the window here, I can basically have it like a more easily accessible thing, right? And then to remove it, you just, like that, see? No problem. Guild, like before. Battlegrounds, like for quest list, it's the same. World map. Navigation, however, this is something that you will want to be using, okay? On Euro, this feature didn't exist or was absurdly broken. The way this works, imagine a GPS, okay? Now, the reason why I think this is so amazing, you can use a slash command on, what's it called? On Navi, like slash Navi, Fabre, like a certain, what's it called? Coordinates, sorry. But for our intents and purposes, we're gonna go with pouring, right? Like this, see? Then you get all the different pourings, and you click this. Then you can pick which field. Let's just say, just for convenience sake, where's this one, right? Frontier Field 8, and then you click Find. Now I've changed it so that for me, you have a few options that you can use. Hang on, let me show you. You go to navigation icon settings, you have these different ones. Like, see? You can even have the pride paw if you want. For me, I like the pink paw, I think it's gorgeous. So, and then you basically, you just follow it, and then it will also tell you in the chat where to go. We also don't have this banner yet, but this is a Cairo feature, see? And it will show you where to go. And this is extremely useful. You can use this for MVPs, you can use this for regular monsters, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so that's the navigation feature. I'm just gonna walk back now, I just wanted to show how it works. We turn it off. Cancel navigation. You can do like, let's do Baphomet just to showcase it, see?
You can on Terra Maze very low. It also says how many spawns is in one of these, right? And Baphomet Junior, Nightmare, and so on and so on. Moving right along, you have options, we all know what that is. You have a bank, which I'm not sure we actually have on Prime. They have it on Cairo, and the same thing with the replay. The mail, this is another feature that we didn't have on Euro. And this is basically, you can, it's called Oro Dex, and you can basically write a mail. You got like Nina, for example, validate name, level 99 Lord Knight, and then you can type in like, title, hello, and you can do I'm Nina, right? And then you can send Seni if you want. It's like 34k. We want to send a dagger, see? And then you can click send. Really useful. There's also a tax on sending though, at least on Cairo. But yeah, that's the Oro Dex. That's the mail you, and when you have new mail, there's gonna be a little icon up here, right next to the cash shop. But yeah, that sums up this. Moving right along. Now, this is also a new one. Achievements. They added achievements to the game. These were nerfed though, just a full disclaimer here. On Cairo, when you do a certain amount of exploration achievements, you gain roughly like 200k gold, cedis, or not gold. This is done to give people a little bit of a start, and it's designed keeping Cairo in mind, which has been up for so long, and it already has 3rd and 4th classes. But for a completely fresh server like this one, 200k Seni is just insane. So they nerfed it. Rightfully so, mind you. So that's no longer a viable strat to get some early Seni if you're thinking about doing this. Sorry, it's been nerfed. Anyways, the achievements themselves. So what happens is, there's all these different types. If you've played other games, many other games have achievements, you might be familiar with them. And the way it works, sadly, you don't get your bonus, your rewards automatically. If you complete an achievement, you have to actually go in, click on this one, and then claim reward. Like this one gives me buffs, for example, right? But, for example, the ones that provide items achieve base level 175, level 70, and so on and so on, and you can claim your reward. Now, I'm not really sure what rewards they've set, if they're using the same ones that Cairo does, or if they've set their own. But I would definitely check this out if I were you. Like say you have the Oro Dex here because I have new mail. When you achieve, your achievement award comes in the mail, right? You can also refresh if you like. So that sums up the achievements. There's also some feats and reach different types of levels and dungeons and all these other things. It's pretty cool. It's quite nice too. Some of them give titles and whatnot. Tip box if you need help, I guess. Now this one, attendance, which is, yeah, exactly. I can't do it right now, but basically the attendance check is a daily login reward system. So for every day that you log in consecutively, it awards you an item. So day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and so on. And this is set by the server, so I don't really know what the rewards are going to be on Prime. If they're following Cairo, then it'll be stuff like manuals, potions, maybe a bubblegum here and there, and so forth. It might be something completely different, I really don't know. Until we've actually seen it live, it's impossible to tell. But yeah, it's basically, it rewards people for logging in every day, consecutively. If you miss one, well, then you won't be able to get the last reward. It really depends as well. Some servers, you will just take longer to get all the rewards. It really depends on how they choose to cycle through it, but basically if you log in every day on your account, you're presented with a reward. Okay, it's called daily, or the attendance system. Now for a big one. Party booking system, okay? This is something you should be using. Okay, it's in here. It's basically a way for you to find, let's say, cave. Okay, this was a quest, sorry, we have to do dungeon, right? Obviously there's nothing here because it's just me at the moment, but basically I tested this feature on the CBT, and you can register your party for, let's say we registered for level 10 to 20 in Pion Cave, me and 3 other people, and then one guy wanted to join and he could automatically join it. We didn't have to actually manually invite him because he could find our he could find our party that was listed and he could join the party, meaning no more please invite spams, okay? Party booking system, use it, okay? So, one last thing before we talk about leveling, and that is the refine UI. If you've played on certain servers before, or if you played on Cairo, you will know what this is. The refining has been replaced by a refine UI, and it looks like this. So, an example. This is a knife, level 1. Needs Fracon, right? And Seni. You click refine. Instead of having to click Hollengren over and over and over again, you can use this, say +2. Now it keeps doing it like this, right? And the chance here will change depending on if the chance changes, okay? Point is, let's equip a +7, right? Sorry, there. Put the +7 in, and there we go, 60% chance of success. You can actually see what your success chance is. Now obviously again, they will add certain other elements to help you get more, or if there's an event or whatever, but the point is, it's no longer hidden from the players. You can actually see the chance of success. So we're just gonna derp and see if we can do this. See, it failed, and the item has been destroyed. So that's how the refine UI works. And this is also from Prime, by the way. It's on Cairo, it's on Prime, it's an official feature. It's really cool, I really like it. I like the little flamey thing, and the animation is really nice as well. Moving on from this, last thing when it comes to leveling. Okay, I know tomorrow when the server launches, people are going to flock to the specific places, right? You have the Novice ground, and then people might go to Ant Eggs, or people will go to South Frontera, or people will go to Orc Dungeon, Poison Spores, Mandragoras, you name it, okay? These spots will be flooded with people, meaning you will not be able to kill anything because everything is going to be dead, more or less. What I've done is that I've compiled a list below the stream. I spoke about it earlier, sorry, below the video, not stream, I'm just used to streaming. So I'm just gonna point down because it's gonna be in the description, where I've listed levels and I've listed monsters around that level. Now you can use the navigation to get to these monsters, and I've also included on every monster notable drops that you should be saving for later. Stuff like cactus needles, stuff like green live, stuff like refining materials, herbs, stuff that is used by other players that you can sell to them. Do not sell these things to the vendor. So yeah, that kind of sums this video up a little bit. I predicted the video would be an hour and it's 53 minutes. We're not completely done yet, but almost. Some final thoughts here. Spores are also gonna be crowded, by the way, and Pion Cave. I'm not saying you can't play there, I'm just saying don't despair unless you have a party to go with, or, you know, just some of the alternatives that I presented are actually quite good and quite easy to do and rewarding, and, you know, instead of waiting 30 seconds for a mob, you can keep killing and level, right? Anyway, my final thoughts on this is I'm really excited about this server, and the fact that they've said it's going to come with 4th classes later on, and we're going to be matching Cairo, Green Auras will come. Now we'll continue to release Prime videos in the series. I haven't decided what to call the series yet. I'm just going to call it the Primes, or, you know, Windsurf Academy Prime, or whatever, where we'll go through each class, we'll make new videos and how to do certain things as updates progress down the line. But yeah, so I hope to see you guys on Prime. Recording this video the day before Prime opens, which is tomorrow at 2 PM. I'll be streaming starting at 1:45, and then we're just gonna keep going. Now I'll make a party, Nina's Raiders, you're welcome to it if you want. If you're watching this a week afterwards, then, well, I mean, there's not much I can do about that. But you're always welcome to talk to me, play with me if you like. Don't forget, make a merchant.
There's going to be an offline vending system, but it's a cash shop related system and you don't even need a merchant for that, and I'm not really sure how it works yet, but otherwise a merchant for overcharge and discount is always a good idea, okay? They've also increased your inventory slots here, so you know, there's a few really nice quality of life things. But yeah, further down the line we're gonna get a lot more things implemented if they follow through with what they've said. So yeah, without further ado guys, if you like my content, you know, like, subscribe, share it, come visit me in the stream, hang out. There's many things you can do to support me as a content creator that does not involve real money. I know money is tight for a lot of people and they might want to help, they might want to support a creator, but they don't have or don't want to use money, and that's perfectly fine. But if you like the content that I'm pushing out, come in, say hello, you know, share the video with your friends. Everything is appreciated. So without further ado, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this entertaining, if nothing else, hopefully educational in some way. Maybe it's a recap if you already knew these things. But yeah, I'm a little bit rusty. I haven't done a video in like forever, but super excited to be back. And you know, I love this game so much, and I hope to see you guys on Prime. I will be playing a character called Nina, and I'll be making my own community guild like we did on Euro. You're welcome to join it if you like. Otherwise, below the video there's gonna be Discord, there's gonna be, you know, the stream, Twitter, whatever. You know, keep in touch, yeah? So, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys!